So I've come here to the beach at Hugh Town, and the beach must be a quarter of a mile long. I've got the entire place to myself. Mind you, we're less than 2 weeks from Easter now, so there's a very good chance that it won't stay that long for a very long, or won't stay like this for much longer. So the reason I've brought you here with me, well, firstly because it's just staggeringly beautiful, but I don't know, can you see out there on the horizon? Can you see those waves breaking? So because of the way that the granite here is, so you've got one big intrusion of granite, but it's actually made up of several types of granite. So a granite intrusion doesn't just happen as one big lump. It happens over hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And it takes hundreds of thousands to millions of years for the granite to cool, which is why it's got coarse-grained crystals in it. Now, what happened on the Isles of Scilly is that the Isles of Scilly was effectively like one big sort of circular hillside, and the granite in the middle, the central granite, is different to the outer granite, and as a result it's actually softer. So what's happened is you've got this softer inner granite that has worn away to form this shallow sea that you see in front of us, and all the way around the outside you've got the harder granite. Now, we had a look on the walk back from the north of the island at some of the granite there. Let's have a quick look at some of the stuff that we've got exposed on the beach here. What I'm going to do is come down nice and low, obviously trying to keep an eye on the tide, but yeah, let's have a quick look so you can see where my finger is. Look, we've got some really nice coarse-grained granite phenocrysts there, look, just like you see at the Land's End granite. So this is really feldspar rich here, and there's not much weathering to the feldspar either. So as well as the feldspar, look, if we can pick up, this is sand, but it's effectively, you can see it's the same stuff, mainly feldspars and quartz sand. The quartz, this is a piece of quartz, so typically, let's see if we can zoom in a bit, little diamond shaped or diamond like crystals, glassy in colour, glassy in texture, and then where my finger is, can you see how some of those crystals glint in the sun? Another one down here, look, they are micas, and they are flat platey crystals. So those are the three main minerals that form the granite here, and it's the same with most granites. There's probably some tourmaline in there too. Certainly there was at the outcrop that we stopped out on the coast path. But you can see these beautiful long feldspar crystals, what we call phenocrysts, very large crystals, and they are the sort of mainstay of the granite here. We are back in the outer granite now, so this is the harder of the two granites, and it is, yeah, basically what we're looking at here is the outer granite, the harder of the two granites. Most of the inner granite, I would imagine, is what forms this beach here. Let's have a quick look at the beach sand while we're here as well. Unspoiled, absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure the best way to do this. Let's just pick some up. First thing you'll notice is that it's got the same sort of colour as the quartz, I don't think that's an accident. I think it's mainly because what you're looking at there is quartz. Quartz has been ground down. Quartz is the hardest of the minerals that are formed in granite, and so it's the one that will hang around the longest. You can see some micas. I don't know if... is that focused? There we go. Can you see some of these crystals or some of these items of sand glint in the sun? They are the micas. And the feldspars, I would imagine, tend to weather. So feldspar is probably the mineral most prone to weathering, and therefore the one that you're least likely to find. Certainly in places like St Austell, there's a significant amount of weathering of the feldspar, which occurred when the UK was in the tropics last, because as a country we've moved all over the planet. And feldspar tends to weather more quickly, particularly in hot and wet climates, and as a result what you find is that that's the mineral that tends to disappear first from the granite, will weather away to clay, be lost to erosion, and then the rest of it tends to fall apart as a result, and this is what you've got left. You've got quartz and you've got mica. It's actually really unusual to come to a place that only has one geology. I mean, we've talked about the inner and the outer granite, but they're both granite, they've both got the same constituents. So it's really unusual to come to a place that only has one geology, where all of the rocks are just different variants of the same thing. All of the buildings here are built of granite. All of the walls here are built of granite. The beaches here are made from granite. All of the rock outcrops are granite. And basically everything here is granitic. I mean, there might be some mineralised bits of granite like we saw with the tourmaline earlier, but that's about it. Which, you know, is fantastic, but it does mean that if you don't like granite, the Isles of Scilly probably isn't the place to come. But it's because granite is very strong rock that these islands are still here in the first place. There are several granite outcrops in Cornwall, Devon, from the Variscan orogeny. Now, if you've watched my videos from the north of France, you'll know all about the Variscan orogeny. It was a mountain building event that occurred around sort of 300 million years ago, and the granites were emplaced about sort of 260 to 220 million years ago. And there was an ocean in Cornwall. Part of it has been preserved on Lizard Point. The ocean closed. The tectonic forces decided that those two plates were no longer splitting apart and they were coming together. So the ocean closed, and the tectonic forces didn't stop. Basically, once the ocean closed, the two continents collided either side, and what you got as a result was mountain building. It's a fantastic example of mountain building going on at the moment in the Himalayas, but the Variscan mountain range was far, far higher than that. And we're going to get out here. Not very dignified, but nonetheless got me where I wanted to be. Anyway, so we had this mountain building event, and as I explained in my Northern France video, when you get mountains, the amount of rock is significantly more. So you've got perhaps 20 kilometres, perhaps 30 or 40 kilometres of rock pushing down at the base. That has an impact because with all that additional pressure, thickness of the crust normally about 13 to 15 kilometres, and basically you could be much as quadrupling that. And of course all that additional pressure builds up at the base, and that eventually puts all of those rocks under tremendous pressure, and when that pressure is released, it's released fairly quickly in the form of erosion, and as those rocks erode, the pressure's still there underneath, and it's rather like shaking up a bottle of Coca-Cola or lemonade and then taking the lid off. What happens is you've got all of that pressure contained within the bottle. You take the lid off, the thing explodes. It's exactly the same when you've got the mountain building, but instead of going from a liquid to a gas, what you get is going from a solid to a liquid, and the country rock, whatever it might be, in the case of here, probably metasediments, went from a solid metasediment into a granite, so it melted. All of the same constituents there, but they melted and they recrystallised extremely slowly to form these huge crystals. Come around to another beach now. Tide's actually coming in. You can see the granite outcrop there. How can you tell the difference between that and slate? Well, if you look, there's very few continuous lines through that. If that was a slate outcrop, you'd have lines that ran right the way through it that corresponded with the slaty cleavage. But with granite you don't get that. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a rush today. I've got an aircraft to catch in an hour and a half's time, so I've got to be leaving for the airport soon, so we're going to wander back to the town centre. And I think we'll end the video there. Let's have a look. I wasn't wrong when I said all of the houses here were built of granite. Look at them, absolutely beautiful. Bizarrely though, Hugh Town that we're in at the moment, probably not the best place to build a town. It's on the lowest part of the islands, and the part of the islands most susceptible to flooding. You can see that we're not very far above sea level here. Although this town is actually protected from this side quite well by Samson, Briar and Tresco, which you can see off in the distance. But nonetheless, Hugh Town, mainly built on granular material and very low lying, so very susceptible to climate change.